Hello, my fellow Merconians. So, 1.4 got released recently, and we've been introduced to a lot of new maps and a few more new features as well, which is always good. When it first came out, I think, like everyone else, I was extremely pissed off that matchmaking wasn't working and everything seemed really. Just getting into a game and trying to play it was so frustrating. I properly rage quit and I got really angry. But you've got to understand that, every new patch release is going to have its little problems and things, and CCP did fix them really quickly. I think there's still a few problems with matchmaking. I think, especially with sort of squads, getting into games was really difficult. Half the squad would get in and half the squad wouldn't. And everyone were, cries of right, back out, everyone form up again, here we go, try it again. But it is getting there, and this is one of the new maps. Loving this new map, think it's really good. This is the domination one, and it is kind of king of the hill. The point A is on the top of that little hill. It's quite weird because it's got the building behind it, so it's kind of in cover, and you can get on top of that little building with a dropship and stuff, and the pipes that go all the way around. Really interesting map, really enjoying this one. So aim assist has been brought in, and that's split the community down the middle. Half the people don't think it should be there, the other half think it do. I think it should. It's improved my gameplay a lot, and that's because on console first-person shooter games I'm used to aim assist, and it's difficult to toggle the analog stick and when you're aiming down the sight. I think some people get a bit confused about what aim assist is, and they think it's something that just locks on to the target, and it isn't that. It's when you're aiming down the sight and you've got your reticule on a target, it slows down your analog speed so that it's easier, so that if you make a hard turn to the right on your aim, it's not going to whoosh your sight right off to the right. It's going to do it gradually, little bit by little bit, so it's kind of a focused aim when you're looking at him, and it is made a massive improvement. I think it is a good thing, and it's going to help a lot of people that are getting into the game with aiming and shooting people and being able to kill them. You won't have to use a mouse and keyboard just to be able to aim as good, and perhaps it's even the playing fields between the mouse and keyboard and the controllers, so that they're sort of equal now. One isn't vastly superior to the other, and for a game that's on console, I think that's a good thing. But a lot of divide. People will completely disagree with me with that, and I'll understand their opinions and why they say that as well. But for me personally, I think it's a good thing to the game. It has been a complete game changer though. It's changed the way everyone plays the game. You can't just run around and evade cover, and I find that you don't have those standoffs like you used to do, sort of an infinite 5-minute standoff with 1v1 where you're just jumping around trying to shoot each other, dodging, ducking, jumping to the side, trying to track your target, reload, do it again, change your weapon. That kind of gameplay's kind of disappeared a little bit now. If you meet another guy 1v1, it's going to end one way or the other. You're going to die or they're going to die fairly quickly. Obviously, one of the big problems that comes in every time something changes so much and the gameplay changes so much, you're stuck with your skills, put in what you've got. I'm stuck as my Caldari Logi, although I'm also training Assault. People that are scouts are spec'd into scouts, and it's just completely changed the way that they have to play and the way that this game works in that skill point system, and it takes a long time to earn yourself into that specific type of suit. It's obvious that people are going to get upset when it completely nerfs or buffs their suit, and this is something that is obviously very difficult to get right with each update, and this is why people are going to get so upset about it, because you've completely changed their way of playing the game, and it's not like they can go, okay, I'll just run as a heavy, or I'll fly a dropship, or I'll do this, because they're set in what they can play. So it's a fine line between this skill point system, and I don't know, I'm still dubious about whether it should work this way or not, because I get frustrated that I can only use what I've got, and then I'm going to have to wait another month and a half, 2 months before I can change into something else. I think I read somewhere that they're not going to be looking at planetary conquest for a little while and changing that, but they're going to focus on faction warfare. And I think that's a really good move, because I think quite a lot of people are more interested in faction warfare and fighting for the 4 factions that you've got in the game, and going to be quite interested to see what they do with that. I've got some ideas about how it could go and what they could do with it, and at the moment you kind of have to sync up into one of the fights and pick what side you want to go on, and then it's on a random planet and you don't know where it is. But if it could tie in more with EVE Online faction warfare, that's where I reckon the money is. But build up this thing, and faction warfare is something where in EVE you've got to capture the systems and capture the planets, and it's an ebb and flow, a constant sort of tit for tat and back and forward about who's owning what space, and you get lots of loyalty points and standings for that thing. And I think that's something that can jump over to this first person shooter really well. And again, I'm just thinking how they can do that by having it so, you know, you're really having something to do with helping to capture those systems and working together more and building up the corporations. So you've got, you know, a set of corporations that work just for Minmatar and in the game and out of game, and they're communicating with each other, and they can put orbitals on for each other. And I think that is an area where they can definitely bring the link between EVE and Dust together fully. And that's what this game is about. It's about the EVE universe and bringing those 2 games together and making them work as one. One thing I'd still like to see in the game, I think I talk about this in pretty much every video that I've done so far, is corporation battles. Bring corporation battles back, because it's just the most fun in the game, just being able to have fun getting massive teams of all your own corporation and play other teams of other corporations for just a small wager. And it's great practice for all sorts of things, rather than even having to play the game properly to try and win. You know, you can say, okay, look, come over, look at this area, I want this, is when we're in this play, I want a couple people over here in this area, I'd want a sniper on this thing over here, and you can walk people around the map and sort of build up your tactics in a game, rather than have to sort of just shoot and try and win in every single game. I tell you what I also don't see too much of as well is mass drivers anymore. I think that the aim assist has leveled the playing fields with the noob tube, and it's not as viable as it is, which is good. I think, you know, that's one good outcome out of it, is it's evened up a couple of guns there and it's made them just as equal. A mass driver is nowhere near as OP as it used to be, because you can take out a mass driver if he's standing out in the middle lobbing his noob tubes. You can take him out pretty easily. I play mass driver as well, and I've noticed that it is a lot more difficult to take people out now, because as soon as you poke your head round the corner, they're on you with their reticule, and that's how it should be. I mean, it's still obviously viable, it's still a great weapon, but you have to use it more tactically now. You can't just run around and do the close quarter combat like you used to be able to, because you will get owned a lot quicker. It does seem to be still very few people playing the game at the moment. I think looking at EVE offline net shows sort of an average of around 3,000 to 4,000 people, 4,000 people, 4,000 to 5,000 people at sort of peak times. And that's quite sad, because I think for the free game and what it is, I think that it could do a lot better, and I think it will do in time, and I think it's really starting to get there at the moment. I think we're going to start to see the player base of this game slowly start to rise. Although, obviously, we're coming to an area where next-gen consoles are coming out, and I think GTA 5 is going to be released very soon, which I can't wait to play. It's being it got a midnight launch at a game shop just like 5 minutes from my house, so I'll probably pop along at midnight and go and get that and stand in the queue with the rest of the geeks. Also, Battlefield 4 is coming out next month, which I'm really looking forward to playing, and it'd be quite interesting to see how Dust fares when all this kind of kicks off, and new games and people swapping over to things and playing different things. I think Dust is something that I'm always going to come back to, and I'm always going to play. It's such a great little shooter at the moment, and constantly in development. Things change every month in this game, and it's rare that you get a game where things change so much. And it's like I think I've got to stop myself from raging when something does change. So I'll log on patch day and it'll all be different, and I'll be like, oh no, this is rubbish, I can't do this anymore and I can't do this. But then you realise, oh, actually I can do this now, and I can do this, and this is new. So gotta keep up with it and adapt or die, basically, is the saying. Also, CCP really listen to their community. I think they're constantly checking the forums, listening to what people have to say and trying to adjust things to the player base, which is good and bad in a way, because sometimes it's good to have someone in the development team that can just say, no, this is how it's going to be, and it's going to be like this, and drive that forward. But it's also good to take on that information from the community and see what they want to do. I think we just recently got emailed a questionnaire, which was a great opportunity for everyone to voice their concerns and say how much they like playing the game or what things they would change. I think one of the things that I mentioned in my one was I don't find PC interesting at all. I just hate the fact that I have to log on at certain times to play the battles, and you've got to wait 24 hours, and then the time it takes till their district timer is set to be able to play the game, and that frustrates me because sometimes I'm on and I just want to go and fight there and then, but obviously the other team won't be ready, and I think a lot of work could be done to make it a bit more easier to get into and jump into and play the games. So yeah, I wrote that down in my email that I got sent to reply to, and I hope they read a fair amount of those and look at the statistics of what was said and who wants what, and to try and change things for the better for this game for the community. That's about all I can chat about today, because my washing machine is about to go into drying mode, and when it does, it sounds like my flat's about to take off. So it won't be very interesting for you to hear that in the background. It is a horrible noise. I'm sure people that have played with me on comms when I've got my washing machine in the background don't appreciate that, and I always have to go on push to talk. But anyway, that's real life crap, having to wash clothes every day. That's a bit boring, isn't it? Let's have another game of Dust, I think. Till next time.